guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. So today is going to be the first video of 3 from our first 3-day eventing clinic this season. So day 1 is dressage. Normally I wouldn't do a whole video just for dressage. I'd normally combine it because sometimes dressage can be a little bit boring or not exciting, but we had so many things come together in this clinic and we took a lot of them into our training for the rest of the season, and we actually put out some of our best dressage tests to date this season. So I thought it was worth doing a dressage vlog. I do put in a voiceover for you guys just to explain everything that we were going over and the things that worked and what didn't and what we were struggling with and X, Y, and Z. So yeah. This is dressage day 1. Stay tuned for day 2, which will be show jumping, and day 3, which will be cross country, which is everyone's favorite. We don't actually do a lot of cross country, but the in the ring exercises were absolutely great and very beneficial for then taking that out onto the cross country courses in the events. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll the intro and we can get into it. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So normally I wouldn't do a whole video on dressage, but this was the first day of our 3-day eventing clinic, and the first day was a dressage lesson, and it was actually the most beneficial dressage clinic we have ever had. So I just thought that I would share with you some of the tips and tricks and things that really worked for Bubbly. We actually put in our best dressage tests ever in competition after this clinic. So obviously here she doesn't look great. We're just going over kind of the principles. So she has to be straight through the cones, and the outside rein has to be there to hold her straight through the cones. And the inside leg asks her to, use her body, bend into the frame, use her abs. So the principles are, number 1, you need forward. So she is quite lazy for a thoroughbred, to be honest. So we had to make sure she was forward and we had a rhythm, and that's number 1. Number 2 then is straightness, which is what the cones really help, because you can still be straight on a circle, I learned. So yeah, she's just resisting there. And then number 3 is the bend or the collection or whatever. So I wasn't getting it there, so the clinician actually got me to stop, and she actually held the reins and sort of showed me what we were looking for, and that was super helpful because then I was able to really feel like I saw what she was doing with the reins and I was able to do it, and there we go. See, we get a couple moments there. Perfect. And bend my arm and forward. So basically what she is saying is when they do round and they do get into that proper frame and using their body, they can get lazy, right? So she said every time that she's round and soft, everything about me has to be saying, nope, forward, right? Keeping her going forward. And the moment that she does give in, I soften the inside rein. Here she's just resisting though. So basically outside rein keeps her straight, keeps her supported, inside rein, inside hand, ask. But through all that, I can't lose my rhythm and collection is basically what she's saying. And then my reins kept getting long through the whole thing, so I really needed to get some with a better grip. She's so easy, like she's so good at just taking them from me, and then they get long without me even noticing it. But yeah, so at the beginning, obviously she's not looking great here, but she really comes around on the end. So those principles just keep applying, keep that rhythm, keep the straightness. Don't let her slow down, and then as soon as she comes down, just relaxing that inside rein. Good. And then as soon as she comes down, you can see she starts to track up better. And there is like one spot in each circle here where she always tries to, she always pops up. So there's actually donkeys on the other side of the fence on this side, which is what she keeps looking at. So she's just saying, like, before I get there, I have to kind of remind her, no, you're going to stay with me. You're going to keep this connection that we have and keep going from there. Good, and she comes down there nicely. Yeah, it's starting to all kind of go together a little bit better here. She's kind of figuring out where I want her to be. Yeah, and that was really nice. She came down. And then it's my job to keep her there, which is, I worked so hard this lesson. It was amazing. Yeah, like dressage is hard. You have to do a lot with your body, a lot with your muscles. So she's just saying this time around through the cones, we're gonna switch directions, and I need to keep this connection and basically just change everything, get a new outside rein, but keep the connection. Obviously I didn't there first time around. She's really looking at everything, and she said you have to go back, you have to get the rhythm first now. So she's saying get back to that forward rhythm, don't let her fall behind. And then here we have the rhythm, and then as soon as she gives, I soften. Inside rein, yeah, and then the job is just to hold it there. And here she's looking at everything on that side and whatnot. And then she's looking at the gate, good girl, where everyone is. So I have to kind of catch her before she pops up, and then just hold the outside rein and hold and support, and don't let her pop up like here, which that was a bit better that time around for sure. But it all comes back to those, let's get the rhythm, straightness, and then finally ask for her to have that connection with me. Really use her back end, really track up, yeah, and really move through her own body, get that impulsion. Now we're switching directions again, and the big thing is just not to overthink it. The big thing that clicked in, so right there, she just told me right shoulder back. So what I actually found from this clinic, good girl, is that was really nice through there, is that I like to pop my outside shoulder forward, especially on my right side. It's a lot easier for me to let my right shoulder roll forward, especially when we're circling to the left. So that was a huge thing that we found that clicked. Even though I work with bodies and people and everything, apparently I was rounding my own shoulders. So as soon as I was able to pull my outside shoulder back, which just in turn solidified that connection to the outside rein and allowed me not to drop that hand, then everything really started to click together. So now that shoulder switches. So now my left shoulder has to go back as we switch directions. And she's a little bit resisting, but good. My reins are long again. She'll probably tell me that in a second here. There we go, good girl. Sorry, the camera angles are a little bit off. This was filmed in not landscape. Now we've got landscape, so that's good. That was our first canter transition. What she actually says is Bubbly is a horse where she would do some canter work before trot work, because it really gets her trot going a lot better. Her trot's much better after she has cantered. And yeah, she didn't really want to stay going in the canter. Whenever I touched my left rein, or my outside rein, yeah, so that would be my left rein here, she was braking. So I kind of had to push her through that. And same thing, every time she broke, she's like, everything you think about is forward. And then I really had to pull my shoulder back here, because everything in the canter just speeds up and it's harder to do. So I had to really pull my outside shoulder back. And then the give and take on the inside hand had to be like much bigger in the canter. We found like a really big release, really big give and take to get her to bend and really get her to come in. And she's still quite strung out in her canter here, but my reins got long. So she literally was like, just shorten your reins by about a foot, which is hilarious because I don't even feel them getting long, but they do. So, and then once I get there, I have to sit back. I do like to rock in the canter. It's something I've worked on forever. Because I used to rock a lot with my first horse, actually, Sadie. So now I have to really ride from my hips, my seat bones, bend and release that inside rein, keep that left shoulder back so that I can hold that connection. Because I just kept rocking it forward. Who knew? That's like obviously a big bad habit of mine. So putting all that together has really, really helped with everything since then. And this was just a huge light bulb moment. Now I actually have that rhythm, so I have that forward, and that's why we're asking for the release, the give and release, to try to get her using all those good tummy muscles and getting the hindquarters engaged there. Good. And then slow my post down to get that rhythm back. And now look at that trot. That trot is so much better. I have to push her because she starts to get lazy, but it feels so good. Yeah, so even her trot is just so much improved after that little canter. So yeah, she definitely says with this horse, I would do, you know, the canter work before the trot work. And the big thing is slowing my post when she starts to rush, not going to the rein, but slowing my post and keeping the rhythm and momentum that I want. And then softening, and oh yeah, look at that. Like even from we're almost 10 minutes in. From 10 minutes ago, this is like a completely different looking horse. She's got her nice natural frame. Good girl. She's like a touch behind the vertical at times, but she works herself out of it. But this trot is just so much better. But yeah, she's just basically saying, like, especially off the track thoroughbreds are natural canterers. So when you do your canter work, it gets all the muscles working, and then it really improves the trot. So here we're going to go back up to canter. We have worked on her transition since. She does love to hollow her back. It is still something that that's such a nice trot. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. Something that we're working on is our transitions. And here she gets a bit red Mary on me. So she said, no, you just, Kate, go back to everything about you forward. We're going back to our very first thing, getting the forward, getting the rhythm. So we need that forward and that nice forward rhythm before we ask for anything else. We're going to be straight through the cones. And then as soon as she gets that, we're going to then get the connection. She said, as soon as she gets red mare like that, you're just going to push her forward. You're just going to make everything about you forward. And that was, you know, it worked really well. Now all of a sudden she gave me like 2 or 3 moments, and now she's back to business, which normally for Bubbly, she can be quite reactive. So that would be more than just 3 moments. But leg, I need to put my leg on, which is often scary when they're reactive. And yeah, now she's coming back into the connection. So we're holding my shoulder, getting her going again because she's lazy, holding my left shoulder back once we have the forward, and then give and big release on the inside hand. Outside shoulder back was just huge. Like, she just keeps saying that because that's just what clicked for me. She could tell me to put my hand wherever and it wouldn't stay. The moment I put that outside shoulder back, it was just this huge light bulb, and then Bubbly really responded to it. Yeah. Watching this really makes me want to work on dressage again. And then, like, even noticing me sitting in the saddle. So this is my weaker way because of my right knee injury. So it's hard for me to then keep my weight to the outside. So when I put that right shoulder back, it helped me stay centered in the saddle. And then that way, when I wasn't sitting crooked, she was allowed to really balance herself. Now she's saying, now that you're here, touch your knuckles together over her neck and keep that connection and lean back. And yeah, basically she's like, you turned into a dressage rider. Like, look at this trot, look at this. My legs underneath me. It was just amazing. She said next time we come through, I think horses are starting to come up behind us at this point. So I have to kind of keep my hands up and together now, she's saying, working in other little things now that we've got the basis. And we're going to go through the center. I'm going to switch my new outside shoulder back, and I'm going to bend her to the inside. That was not the best change, but it does get better. So now we have to find the rhythm and straightness first, get her forward. Because that always, if you lose that, you have to go back to that. There's no way for her to become around and using herself if we don't have that rhythm and straightness. Yeah, there are horses coming because now she's neighing at them. So she said, so now she's saying, let's ride a straight line to come back to the other circle along the long side. Just to switch it up a little bit, I think. And when she goes by the gate, which is right here, we're gonna just give her a little nudge. And she had way too much of an inside bend there because I lost my outside shoulder. So we have to fix that. There. So I can flex her to the inside, but I can't let her body fall out. So that's where my outside shoulder needs to come in. That was a little bit better through there. We still lost her a little bit. She loves that side, and then as soon as she gets to the side with the gate and the horses, it just, yeah, doesn't all fall apart, but she's like, hey, friends. So now I'm really gonna work on not allowing her to do that this time around. Bending to the inside, outside rein catches her. That was better, and then forward. Then we're gonna do that again and change the direction. She's not looking at her friend. Good, I actually caught her super well there. She flexed to the inside, but she didn't escape through the outside shoulder or hindquarters. And that was a way better transition. We had like one little bobble, but everything worked. And because I did it right, I got the response, and she wasn't able to just avoid everything. Good girl. Good, kept her attention there. Now we're gonna do one more change of direction. Little bobble, but like for the most part, stayed well in her frame. And yeah, from start to finish, it was amazing. And then here I'm just gonna get her past her friends and do our final transition to walk, which is always forward to walk, right guys? I have a hard time with that.
Well done. Amazing.
Just put my commentary in there because it did feel amazing. It was so good, and she got big pats after. Yeah, so I'm gonna split this up into 3 days because I have a lot of footage from this day, from this clinic, and it was such a great clinic and I learned so much. So I think I'll put it into 3 different videos so you guys don't have to watch one for an hour. So that was day 1 dressage. Yeah, like I said, some of those things were huge and really created just the base work that we did for the rest of the season. And yeah, some of our best dressage tests ever came from a lot of that, and a lot of things clicked, and I was able to take that into my training. So I hope if you guys made it this far that you can use some of that if you have your own kind of sticky forward, what you would think would be a really forward thoroughbred, but actually they're lazy like Bubbly. So you really need that forward, you need that rhythm, and then everything else is so much easier once you have that. But I was really missing that because I thought she was forward and she was not forward, and she was not off my leg. And yeah, so anyways, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell if you want to be aware when I put the next 2 videos from this weekend out. Day 1 show jumping, day 2 cross country. So stay tuned for those. Thanks again, guys. Bye.